It's opening day in Arizona. A sellout under the valley sky. The weather is warm and the atmosphere one of excitement and expectation. Clear and perfect 83 degrees. Let's get this going. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, and Kate Longworth along the way as the Arizona Diamondbacks, celebrating 20 years of Major League Baseball, are set to host the Colorado Rockies. Bob, it is one of 162. Buckle up.
Buckle up is right. So much excitement and optimism going into game one of any new season, but it's going to be a long grind. Somebody a lot smarter than me said it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. These are the first steps of the marathon.
And today's season will begin where last year's ended for the Colorado Rockies, the Diamondbacks' opponent in last year's National League wildcard game. They are back again. Here is the lineup for Bud Black's ball club. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
A lot of familiar names for Bud Black, starting at leadoff with Charlie Blackmon playing center field, DJ LeMahieu at second base, Nolan Arenado down at third, Trevor Story at shortstop, Carlos Gonzalez back with the Rockies. He'll be out in right field. Ian Desmond moves into first base this season. Gerardo Parra, the former Diamondback, out in left field. Chris Arenado, former Diamondback, doing the catching for right-hander John Gray.
And remember, it was John Gray who was knocked out of the ball game in that wild card start here against the Diamondbacks after recording only 4 outs. A very disappointing postseason experience for John Gray. It seems every year the D-backs have a tough schedule to begin the season, and this is no different. We open up with 6 against the Rockies and the Dodgers. Here, 18 of the first 21 games coming against the National League West.
Well, we know how the Diamondbacks started the season last year. They ran roughshod through the National League West in that first month of the season, hoping to do exactly the same thing this year.
D-backs won the season series versus Colorado last year, 11-8. In fact, last season, the Diamondbacks won the season series against every division opponent. Have to get a little lucky maybe this year for that to happen again.
Well, luck's a big part of this game, so we'll take all the good luck we can get.
Expected to be baseball's toughest division, the National League West, and the Diamondbacks take the field in 2018. Patrick Corbin is your Ram truck starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Torey Lovullo calling it a very well-deserved honor for Patrick. The 28-year-old left-hander's first opening day start last year. He matched career highs in starts, wins, and strikeouts.
And was especially good here at Chase Field in 17 starts here at home. Had a 9-4 record with an ERA just over 3. So he likes it here at home. From a full house here at Chase Field tonight to start this 2018 season.
Diamondbacks have placed another emphasis on defense. They should be one of the best in the business at catching the baseball. Here's a look at the opening day defense. It's brought to you by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
A lot of speed between those 3 guys. Peralta in left, Pollock in center. One of the newest Diamondbacks, Gerard Dyson, over in right field tonight against a right-handed starting pitcher. The infield will be Jake Lamb at third, Nick Ahmed at shortstop, Ketel Marte at second base, Paul Goldschmidt, who's going to need to put an addition onto his house for all the hardware he picked up before the game tonight, and Alex Avila behind the plate for left-hander Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, Goldie picked up another Gold Glove, another Silver Slugger. Torey Lovullo picked up his National League Manager of the Year award from last season. And he and Bud Black are getting together with our umpiring crew. That's brought to you by Humana. The crew chief, Gary Cedarstrom, in the middle there will call the balls and strikes. Eric Cooper at first base, Corey Blazer at second, and Stu Sherwater at third.
It's customary the first game of a series early in the season. Bud Black and the Rockies know this ballpark as well as their own home field, but it's a home plate umpire's responsibility to go over the ground rules just to make sure both teams are aware of what happens if the ball hits here and bounces there. And Gary Cedarstrom going over the ground rules here at Chase Field for Bud Black, the Rockies manager.
Well, the Rockies, in their now 25 seasons of existence, have never won the National League West. They've also never in their history made postseason appearances in consecutive years. So this year, likely to be their best ever chance at both. They should be very good this season.
Well, you look at the lineup. This is a ball club that once again is going to score a ton of runs. The question for the Rockies since their inception has always been, can they keep anybody else from scoring? That young pitching staff that kind of came into their own last year needs to take the next step forward. But this is a very, very dangerous offense.
We have waited all winter long. Last season, the Diamondbacks won 93 games. Patrick Corbin gets the baseball tonight in Game 1 of 2018, and Charlie Blackmon leads it off for the Rockies. And right away, Corbin starts with last year's National League batting champion. Blackmon hit .331 last year.
Got to hit the ground running.
Not as well, huh? Patrick Corbin to Charlie Blackmon, and we are underway in 2018. Blackmon last year led the major leagues in hits, runs scored, triples, and total bases. He tied or set career highs in nearly every possible offensive category. Fastball missed, and Patrick is behind 2 balls and no strikes. That's out of play. Some nice synergy for Patrick Corbin in getting this start tonight after Zach Greinke had to be pushed back following that minor groin injury in spring training. Patrick is the longest tenured member of this D-backs pitching staff. And overall, only Randy Johnson, Brandon Webb, and Brian Anderson have started more games in a D-backs uniform than Patrick Corbin.
Well, that's hard to believe. You look at Patrick Corbin, he still looks like a kid. He still acts like a kid at times in that clubhouse. But as you said, one of the senior members of this team.
Fastball's a strike, and he's back even 2-2. Always got to watch out for the leadoff home run with Charlie Blackmon.
He's hit more leadoff home runs since the 2014 season than anybody in baseball, 27 times.
The fastball from Corbin, and Blackmon goes down swinging.
The reverse Goldie after falling behind 2-0 in the count comes back to strike out the leadoff hitter for the Rockies. Good start for Patrick.
Well, I knew you were anxious, Bob, to see if the Diamondbacks would put in play once again the DJ LeMahieu shift.
It doesn't appear to be much of a shift. Center fielder A.J. Pollock a few steps over into the gap in right center, but not a lot of moving. Not like we saw last year at Coors Field when the Diamondbacks had all their defenders on the right side of the field for LeMahieu.
Saw Tony Perez Chica on the right there positioning as infielders, and Dave McKay on the left working the outfield. There's strike 1 to LeMahieu, who hit .310 last year with 8 home runs. Out of play, and it's 0-2.
And we talked about that DJ LeMahieu opposite field shift last season, and I think it really got into his head a little bit. His natural swing is to lead with his hands and let the barrel of the bat drag a little bit behind. Try to shoot everything to the opposite field, occasionally taking advantage of Goldie holding on a runner over there at first base, tries to shoot that hole. But with the shift the Diamondbacks used, he was up there trying to pull the ball, trying to hit it where there were no defenders, and that is not his game.
Fastball misses up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. LeMahieu last year 5th in the National League in hits and 7th in batting average with that .310 mark. Missed with a slider, and it's 2-2. The dangerous Nolan Arenado will be next. Just gone final in L.A. The Giants on opening day shut out Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers 1-0. Ty Block, the opening day starter for San Francisco, beats Kershaw. LeMahieu sends one deep to left field. Peralta at the wall, and it's gone. DJ LeMahieu, his 4th career home run against Patrick Corbin, and the Rockies strike first.
I said pulling the ball is not DJ LeMahieu's game, but he's perfectly capable of turning on an inside fastball, and he shows right here against this Patrick Corbin heater. maybe even off the plate inside, but still gets the barrel to it and just does sneak it out of here to left field.
Well, Mayhew had been hitting nearly .380 in his career against Corbin, and it gives the Rockies the early lead. Here's Nolan Arenado. Arenado last year 37 home runs, 130 RBIs to go along with a career high .309 batting average. And this is a guy that absolutely feasted on left-hand pitching last year.
All right, partner, I got a deal for you here.
What do you got?
I'll give you $1 million or a dime for every swing that Nolan Arenado took this winter in the batting cage.
I'll go with the dimes.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy, this is a guy that's just tireless when he's working in that batting cage. And it shows.
Drops one into left field in front of Peralta. Arenado aboard. That'll bring up Trevor Story. Is everything on this day in this game amplified more so than others?
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, you know, baseball is all about the grind, the day-to-day grind. Not sure what city you're in, not sure who you're playing against. Just show up at the ballpark and play another game and then do it over again tomorrow. And opening day is not like that. A lot of hoopla, festivities, celebrities, flyovers, fireworks. And, you know, it's nice and it's for the fans and it's the way it should be. But I think most of the players on the field right now will be glad to get to game 2.
First pitch slider to Trevor Story, a swing and a miss. He'll do that a lot, Story. He led the National League in strikeouts last year. A Rockies record, in fact, 191 times. Goldie holding Arenado on the bag at first. Another slider from Corbin. It's a ball and a strike. Patrick Corbin admitted going into tonight a key for him would be to go out there and stay calm, focus on what you're doing. And he feels he's capable of doing that, but he's got to put that LeMahieu home run behind him and figure out a way to strand Arenado. Sliders a strike, says Gary Cederstrom, and it's 1-2 on Story.
Now you'll see a lot of sliders from Patrick Corbin. There were only 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball that threw more sliders than Patrick Corbin last year. Chris Archer for Tampa Bay and Irvin Santana from the Minnesota Twins. Patrick Corbin third on that list of sliders thrown, and they don't hit it.
And Patrick can use that pitch to generate weak contact, get a ground ball out. He could use one right here. That one's yanked foul. It'll stay 1-2. Only 5 pitchers in all the majors last year generated more ground ball outs than Patrick Corbin. We tend to think of him as a strikeout pitcher with that slider and fastball combo, but when he needs a ground ball, he can oftentimes get it. Called strike 3. There's the fastball. Story starts his season off with a strikeout, the second for Corbin.
A steady diet of sliders. Scott Story looking for a slider, and Patrick Corbin just zips a fastball at the knees at 94 to get that called strike 3. Got him into off-speed mode and then tricked him with a fastball.
Diamondbacks will put the shift on for Carlos Gonzalez, who seemed as good as gone from Colorado over the wintertime, but back with the Rockies after all. Last year, 262 and 14 home runs. He struggled offensively for most of the year. Arenado, the runner at first and 2 outs, a run is in. First pitch slider from Corbin. Cargo last year hit only about 200 versus left-hand pitching. And you can see the way his season went. He really slumped for most of the year, but was able to turn it on the last 6 weeks or so. Fastball that time, and it's 0-2.
Effectively using that slider as an off-speed pitch to set up fastballs. It got Story to look at one for a called strike 3 and really tied up Cargo inside on that fastball at 93.
Already a 20-pitch first for Patrick. Arenado takes off, and Gonzalez goes down swinging. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Corbin. Rockies get on the board. D-backs coming up. Starter for the Rockies, the right-hander John Gray. The 26-year-old begins this season on the same Chase Field mound where last year ended for him with an early exit from last October's wild card game.
Guy has plus stuff, a fastball that'll sit in the mid to upper 90s, a wipeout slider, and a curveball that he started to use at the end of the season last year. Very much like Patrick Corbin, as an off-speed pitch to complement his 2 best pitches, the fastball and the slider.
Here's the Diamondbacks lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealers.
David Peralta leading it off in left field. A.J. Pollock in center. Goldie down at first base with Jake Lamb at third. Ketel Marte at second base. Alex Avila doing the catching. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Gerard Dyson will be out in right field, and left-hander Patrick Corbin on the mound.
Peralta looks at a curveball for ball 1. David, 293 last year, 14 home runs. We saw the Rockies in their Cactus League games versus the D-backs this spring move 3 infielders to the right side against David Peralta, with the center fielder shaded well over toward left center. They don't quite go that far, that drastic here tonight. Fastball missed, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Big John Gray, 6'4", 235, says there's definitely a chip on my shoulder type thing for him after last October 4th, when he was able to record only 4 outs in his start in that NL wildcard game. He's behind on Peralta, 3-1 with Pollock on deck. Gary Cederstrom says hold on there, David. It's full 3-2. The crew chief behind the plate tonight with the balls and strikes. That one rolls into right. The freight train's on the tracks to get us started. Let's take a look at Colorado defensively. That's presented by E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Gerardo Parr out in left field. Charlie Blackmon and his beard out in center field. Carlos Gonzalez in his customary right field position. It'll be Nolan Arenado at third base. Trevor Story at short. DJ LeMahieu at second base. Ian Desmond over at first with Chris Arenado behind the plate for right-hander John Gray.
A.J. Pollock. A.J. a .266 hitter last year, 14 home runs. He also stole 20 bases. Peralta aboard at first. Sliders is strike and it's 0-1. A.J. last year played in 112 games. Went down in the middle of May with a right groin strain and missed nearly 2 months. Desmond holding Peralta on the bag at first. Swing and a miss. John Gray will throw more breaking balls than he ever has before. He's got 2 types of sliders. He's got a slow curveball that's come a long way. He's not all about the fastball anymore. Former D-back Chris Arenado back with Colorado.
Got the cheat sheet on the wristband there. That's becoming more and more common in Major League Baseball.
A.J. knocks the 0-2 into left field. Peralta stops at second. Little bobble out there by Gerardo Parra. David dives back, and here comes Paul Goldschmidt. Quickly, Bob, your Valley Honda dealer's key to the game.
Well, you can see the moss that John Gray is featuring out there, and the Diamondbacks want to lather, rinse, and repeat what they did against him in the postseason last year.
I see what you did there with the hair and the whole thing.
It's early. We're trying.
Well, you'll recall it was Goldie's first inning home run off of John Gray in last year's wild card game that gave the D-backs that early 3-0 lead. And here we go again, perhaps. Peralta, the runner at second, Pollock at first, and nobody out. Takes a big cut at a fastball, and it's 0-1. This was October 4th. What a way to start a wild ball game.
Wow, hanging breaking ball from John Gray, and Goldie was all over it. What a start to that game.
Goldie had been 0 for 11 in his career against John Gray with 5 strikeouts before that at bat. So he's not had a whole lot of luck with him. Lays off a slider, and he's even 1-1. Goldie tonight extending his D-backs record, his 7th opening day start at first base. John Gray recorded only 4 outs in that loss last year. He said tonight he wants to get back out there and show dominance. Biggest start of his career. He gave up 4 runs, 7 hits, and was pulled in the 2nd inning. He got outside himself, he said. A lot of regrets. It was tough emotionally for him. The shortest postseason start in Rockies history, and the shortest start of John Gray's career. Ahead of Goldie 1-2. Arenado thought about throwing down to first, but Desmond is playing back behind the runner Pollock. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Gray has been consistently slow to the plate after the David Peralta single, and then again after the A.J. Pollock single. He's 165 to 17 on every delivery.
Yeah, both Peralta and Pollock getting big secondary leads on that last one, so LeMahieu will shade the bag a little bit more at second. Not biting on the slider. Full count, 3-2. Jake Lamb on deck. He's loaded the bases for Lamb. Ball 4.
question. John Gray pitching very carefully to Goldie right there. Might have had it in the back of his mind, or maybe even in front of his mind, what Goldie did against him in the postseason last year. Just didn't appear too willing to throw anything over the plate right there.
A chance for Jake Lamb, a first-time All-Star last year. Peralta, the runner at third. Pollock at second, and Goldie at first. Bases full of D-backs and nobody out. Launches one high in the air. Deep right center field. It's off the wall. Peralta is home. They'll stop Pollock at third. He's going to run through the side. He's in there.
Curveball that just hangs up on the inside part of the plate for Jake Lamb. He gives it a try. This could be a humidor ball double right here. Hit right off the 413 mark. A little bit of confusion on the bases. Goldie had a good read at first. He was almost all the way to third base. A.J. Pollock was kind of jockeying back and forth, but all's well that ends well. 2 runs in, 2 runners on.
And 1 mound visit charged to the Rockies. You only get 6. There's the pitching coach, Steve Foster. And this has got to be a huge feeling of deja vu for Big John Gray. Here's Ketel Marte. .265 home runs and a half season with the D-backs last year. Arenado will creep in a step or 2 at third. There's a strike, a fastball at 96. Goldie at third, Lamb at second, 2 runs in and still nobody out. .97 from Gray, and it's 0-2.
I don't care whether it's the first game of the year, the 50th game of the year, or game 162. Answering the opponents in the bottom half of the inning is huge. You talk about momentum in baseball, moving from dugout to dugout. The Rockies had it after the top of the first. Diamondbacks have it now.
Well, you might as well start them off with shock and awe in game 1. I know that's one of your favorites.
Oh, yeah. Those offensive innings where the team hits for about 45 minutes. And everybody gets 2 at-bats. Scoreboard operator gets carpal tunnel.
D-backs had a lot of big innings last year on their way to 93 wins and a postseason spot. A ball and 2 strikes on Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte this week. Diamondbacks made a long-term investment. A contract extension that'll pay him $24 million over 5 years. Options could boost the deal to $46 million over 7. Mike Hazen, Jared Porter, Jason Parks, the D-backs front office here. Rolled to third. Arenado looks Goldie back, and they retire Marte.
Marte protecting the plate right there, gets jammed with a fastball inside. Unfortunately hits it right at the Gold Glove third baseman for the Rockies. That's no way to make a living.
A chance to make a big splash. First D-back at bat for the catcher Alex Avila. Last year with the Tigers and the Cubs, .264 with 14 home runs. Story, the shortstop, right on the bag at second. Arenado even with a base at third. Fastball missed, and it's 1-0. Avila signed as a free agent to the end of January. 2 years, $8.25 million. Jeff Mathis, John Ryan Murphy also on the roster. D-backs going to 3 catchers again this season.
A lot of fastballs since pitching coach Steve Foster made that trip to the mound. Maybe told him, hey, don't forget what your bread and butter is. That's that high 90s fastball. He's been beaten on a couple of off-speed pitches that he left up over the heart of the plate. His pitching coach perhaps suggested getting back on that fastball.
Gray is a guy who believes he has a chance to reach the ace level, which he defines as a guy who is almost guaranteed to win every game. He says that's his goal. That's where he wants to be. The Rockies opening day starter for the 2nd year in a row. Slider got away. Goldschmidt the runner at 3rd, Lamb at 2nd. Chris Arenado, the former D-back, behind the plate for Colorado.
Well, that's a hard slider that John Gray throws, occasionally touching the low 90s. It's almost like a cut fastball when he throws it that hard, but a real tough pitch for a catcher to deal with. Arenado had to quickly make an adjustment and backhand that ball to keep it from going to the backstop.
Already 24 pitches for Gray in the 1st. Tried a breaking ball and missed. It's 3-1. Not in the script for Bud Black as bench coach Mike Redmond there. Nick Ahmed on deck. Three-1 to Avila. First base for Desmond. Gray gets over there. Goldie scores, and it's 3-1 D-backs. Lamb in at 3rd.
A good example of taking what they give you right there. Alex Avila had the infield back on the right side, just rolled over, hit an easy ground ball to first base, but it was enough to get Goldie on the plate, give the Diamondbacks a 2-run lead.
Well, a 2-out hit can tack one more on for Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. Good to have Nick back and healthy, limited to just over 50 games last year, 251 and 6 home runs. Big cut at a slider from Gray, and it's 0-1. Remember June 27th last year, Nick suffered a fractured right hand hit by a fastball from Trevor Rosenthal of the Cardinals. And then in August, another pitch broke his right wrist while he was rehabbing with AAA Reno. Fastball's a strike, and it's 0-2. Nick said the surgeries went well. The bones healed fairly quickly. No extra rehab needed. And this spring he's been pain-free. Zoom ball from Gray, and it's 1-2. Swing and a miss on a slider. Diamondbacks down 1-0. Answer with 3. Jake Lamb a 2-run double. Avila gets a run home. After 1, D-backs 3, Rockies 1.
Welcome back. D-backs with the early 3-1 lead as we head to the second. I'm Kate Longworth. Patrick Corbin on the mound, entering his 7th season with the D-backs, but making his first career start on opening day. He was slated for the job back in 2014, but never made it to the mound due to injury. But since finding out he'd get the nod tonight, Patrick said he's had a smile on his face. He said it makes those long days of repetitive rehab from Tommy John surgery all worth it, as he stayed the course, put in the hard work and the dedication. But tonight, Corbin said it's all about the team. He hopes to go out there and be the starter that starts a win streak.
Boy, we could really use that, Kate, for sure. Patrick seems fine. He said his fiancee Jen was a mess. She's a nervous wreck, but he's just fine. Ian Desmond leads off the Rockies' second. High chopper to shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Well, we know early in the season last year, a little bit surprising to all of us initially, but Torlavello insisted that his pitchers do their job. Starting pitchers go out there and get 6-7 innings, then turn it over to the bullpen. Don't look for help the first time you bump up against adversity, and I think Patrick and the entire pitching staff is well aware of that going into this season.
Gerardo Parra, his numbers last year, is second in Colorado. What do you think that does for the confidence of the pitching staff, the starters?
Oh, it does wonders for the starting staff, but even more importantly, it saves your bullpen. Nothing can short circuit a team quicker than short starts early in the season. The bullpen gets overtaxed and you just never recover all season long.
Zach Greinke, we anticipate he'll start Game 3 of this series here Saturday. Robbie Ray goes tomorrow night against Colorado's Tyler Anderson. Up the middle, off the mound, and into center. A one-out single for Parra.
Well, it's underneath that Rockies helmet, but Gerardo Parra, being the prankster that he is, dyed his hair, had some silver and some purple for opening day.
He says he likes to play happy. That's his key. I play happy. And he does. You can see it.
Has a good time out there every day, especially on the defensive end. That's where he really shines.
He's going to talk Goldie's ear off down there, too. Chris Arenado, a big bounce back season here in Arizona last year. 254, 17 home runs. Played just under 90 games with the Diamondbacks. Now back with the team that drafted him out of North Carolina back in '04. I got a stat for you.
Okay.
I saw this. I couldn't believe it. As if catching isn't tough enough. Arenado this spring was hit by pitches 6 times.
6 times?
6.
Oh, jeez.
40 plate appearances in the spring. He got hit by pitches 6 times.
Maybe he was working on that.
He must have been. I mean, don't you guys go through enough?
Well, you know, it could indicate a change in Chris Arenado's approach at the plate. Maybe he's a little closer to the dish. Maybe he's diving a little bit more. There could be a legitimate reason for it. Maybe he's just sticking his elbow out in front of off-speed pitches and taking his base. I'm not sure the reason, but that's an awful lot of hit by pitch in the Cactus League.
See, he's got that face guard on the batting helmet. You'll remember that horrific night when he took one right in the mouth here at Chase Field.
92-mile-an-hour fastball to the teeth.
And you saw Chris a day or two later. You would never have known. It was remarkable. There's a good shot of it from our crew. Brian Moss, our director. Brad the Big Dog Weimer in the truck.
Yeah, really, that was the only adjustment after getting hit in the face by a fastball, was just that extra piece on the helmet that extends out there to protect the jaw. You couldn't tell a difference in his approach at the plate.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Arenado very early in the offseason process, the first week of December, signed a 2-year, $8.5 million free agent deal to return to Colorado, where he spent the first 6 seasons of his career. And he's already the Rockies' all-time leader in games played by a catcher. 1 out, par at first.
Well, I think you would echo these sentiments, but we'll root for Chris Arenado when he's not playing the Diamondbacks. He was a true professional in his time here in Arizona. There were times when he was red hot at the plate, and Jeff Mathis would still get his starts with Zach Greinke on the mound, and Chris was fine with it. Didn't have a word to say about it, just stayed ready for his next opportunity to get behind the plate and then try to help the team win a game.
Chris is an absolute class act, and he had a lot of big hits for the D-backs last year as well. He just had a knack for that big moment. Lays off a slider, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But that all being said, I hope he doesn't get his first hit until their next series.
Yeah, wait till Sunday, Monday, somewhere around there. The pitcher John Gray on deck.
He can take it out on the Padres. They're in San Diego Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week.
Padres lost their opener at home against the Brewers in extra innings, 2-1. Giants beat the Dodgers in LA 1-0.
Well, there should probably be some kind of omen that the very first pitch of the 2018 season was hit for a home run. Ian Happ of the Cubs against the Miami Marlins hit the first pitch he saw out of the ballpark.
Got a fastball from Urania and knocked it into the seats in upper tank, I think, in right field at Marlins Park.
And you mentioned the Dodger Giants game earlier, a 1-0 Giants win, a solo home run by Joe Panik against Clayton Kershaw.
Left on left. Dodgers come in here for a 3-game set starting on Monday. Patrick working hard. Ionetta's worked it full 3-2. Got him on a slider. 4 strikeouts for Corbin. 2 down.
It looked like he might have taken a little bit off that slider as well. Make it more of a sweeper, get a little more movement on it. Had Ionetta way out in front that time.
That's something that Patrick really embraced, Bob, last year. He's got his wicked hard slider, and he's got another slower one. Uses the same grip, but it's almost like a curveball.
Anytime you can change speeds on any of your pitches. Some guys it's a fastball they take a little bit off of. Some guys it's a breaking ball that they feel more comfortable taking a little bit of velocity off and making it more like an off-speed pitch.
Gray, the pitcher. Patrick became very adept over the second half of last year, mixing up his hard and slow sliders. And that slower slider last year, said Mike Butcher, really worked Patrick. Helped him set up his other pitches. It worked well. That was it right there. 0-2. Uses the same grip for those 2 sliders. It's kind of more like a curveball really than a slider.
Another slider upcoming.
Boy, Avila gets out there and keeps Parra on the bag at first. The appeal to first. Eric Cooper says no.
I think it's a proper call.
Yeah. All right, I'm writing that down. Brenly complimenting umps, March 29th, 7:50 p.m. Well, there's still a discussion going on here. First base coach Tony Diaz getting involved with Eric Cooper down there.
And Bud Black is looking back toward the phone like maybe they're going to check with their own video coordinator, but he gives a sign to the home plate umpire Gary Cedarson, play on.
One and two on the pitcher John Gray. 2 outs, Parra at first. Patrick Corbin goes back to that slider. He's recorded 6 outs so far, 5 by strikeout. He leads it 3-1.
each team with 3 hits. The Diamondbacks lead it where it counts, 3-1 as we head to the bottom half of the second inning. Hey, fans, a D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack-in-a-Box locations with the purchase of a large drink. Well, Jack's looking good in that D-backs uniform.
Everybody does in Sedona red. D-backs have a 3-1 lead as we start the home half of the second inning, and here's the D-back debut of Gerard Dyson, one of the new guys. His numbers with Seattle last year after getting a 2-year, $7.5 million free agent contract to come to Arizona. Dyson hit .251, 5 homers. He also stole 28 bases. He can fly. He's out there in right field tonight. Shows bunt, pulls back, and takes ball 1.
Well, the Rockies respecting Dyson's ability to bunt for a base hit. You see how far Arenado is playing in at third base, but also Trevor Story at shortstop playing 2 or 3 steps more shallow than he normally would. If Dyson can slap that ball toward the hole, he could possibly beat it out for an infield hit.
Well, Dyson brings with him the ability to play all 3 outfield spots. He is an excellent outfield defender. But he'll tell you his game is speed. Speed does a lot of things, helps you win ball games. And as aggressive as the Diamondbacks have been on the bases in years past, especially early last season, this guy could be an absolute weapon for Torey Lovullo.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not only the ability to disrupt a game by stealing a base, but scoring from first on an extra base hit, scoring from second on just about anything. Puts pressure on the defense, puts pressure on the pitcher and catcher.
And of course the key is to get on base, and he's ahead 3-1 with the pitcher Corbin on deck. High bouncer LeMahieu takes it at second. Dyson makes it close, but they retire him to lead off the inning.
It'll go as an 0 for 1, but not an easy play for LeMahieu. He knew he had to rush that throw over to first base, and it was a bang play on a ground ball up the middle.
1 down for Patrick Corbin. Patrick, one of the better hitting pitchers the Diamondbacks have. Interesting to see if John Gray is able to recover and settle down. He's retired the last 4 he's faced. After the first 4 reached safely, 3 of them scored. Peralta singled, Pollock singled, Goldie walked. It was bases loaded, no out. Jake Lamb doubled off the wall in right center to drive home 2. Alex Avila knocked in a run with a ground ball after the Diamondbacks fell behind 1-0 on a DJ LeMahieu home run. Behind on the pitcher, 3 balls and 1 strike.
He's the 9th hitter of the ball game for the Diamondbacks. The 5th 3-ball count in the game already for John Gray.
LeMahieu one more time. Old Glover at second for the Rockies, 2 down. Here's David Peralta. He singled and scored to lead off the ball game. Peralta on his 4th career opening day roster, and for a guy who once played independent ball for the Rio Grande Valley White Wings and the Wichita Wingnuts, that is no small accomplishment.
Go you Wingnuts.
Some of those leagues David played in, some of those teams don't even exist anymore. That's the defensive alignment for Colorado against Peralta. They keep that center fielder Blackman almost straight away. Spring training, the center fielder would be shaded way over toward left center on Peralta. Tonight, not so much. LeMahieu just tied a major league record. 6 in a row retired by John Gray. D-backs lead at 3-1. Fans, don't forget you can participate in our D-backs 50-50 charity raffle presented by Arizona Lottery from home, along with all of us here at Chase Field. Tickets can be purchased online during every D-backs home game, televised on Fox Sports Arizona at dbacks.com/5050 raffle. And the winning numbers will be revealed in tonight's D-backs live post-game show, so stay tuned to see if you've won. This is your chance to win half the pot and help kids in our community. Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff man for the Rockies, leads off the third against Patrick Corbin. Corbin so far 5 strikeouts the first time through the Rockies order. Blackmon struck out to lead off the ballgame.
Starting this inning, Patrick had thrown 37 pitches, 21 fastballs and 16 sliders, but as we've seen, he's changed speeds on that slider several times already.
Goldie at first, spins and throws. Corbin gets over there. 3 gold gloves. You just saw why. Paul Goldschmidt, America's first baseman.
Second baseman, DJ LeMahieu.
Our nationwide eye on the game gives us a look at DJ LeMahieu's first at bat tonight.
This is after we spent the entire at bat talking about him being an opposite field hitter, but instead he turns one around. Exit velocity just over 96 miles an hour, estimated distance of 384 feet.
Well, he's hitting about 380 career against Corbin, now with 4 home runs versus Patrick. But LeMahieu, another guy on this team who drilled lefties last year, 362 against left-hand pitchers.
We talked at the top of the show about this Rockies offense, something you can pretty much count on every year. They're going to get a bunch of hits. They're going to score a bunch of runs. That one pulled foul down the third baseline. You go back to the beginning of the 2015 season, the top 6 major league players in hits, 3 of them are Rockies. Jose Altuve leads the way, then Charlie Blackmon, Mookie Betts, DJ LeMahieu, Jose Abreu, and Nolan Arenado. 3 Rockies in the top 6 in hits over the last 3 years.
And even with that, it looked like, and they maybe felt like they were still a bat short, so they brought Cargo back. He's in the lineup batting 5th tonight. Lays off a slider. It's a ball and 2 strikes. LeMahieu last season an all-star, a Gold Glove winner, each for the 2nd time in his career. 2 years ago he won the National League batting title. Fastball up, and it's 2-2. Arenado a base hit his first time up. Second full count of the ball game for Patrick Corbin. He went 3-2 on Chris Arenado. Struck out Arenado back in the second. Center field for Pollock.
Tough play for any center fielder. That line drive hit right at you. Just don't have a lot of time to judge that ball. Humpback line drive. AJ comes in with a slide, makes it look easy.
Yeah, that one was kind of slicing toward right center. He usually makes it look easy, AJ Pollock. Just about the best in the business out there. Base is empty, 2 down. Arenado singled his first time up. First pitch slider from Corbin. Patrick doing more and more of that as he matures and his career progresses. A lot of first pitch breaking balls. Another slider and it's 0-2. Arenado a home run in the wild card game here last October. That one came against Archie Bradley in the 8th inning, his first career postseason game. Gary Cedarstrom doesn't bite. Ball and 2 strikes.
Tried to go back to that slider a 3rd time right there, hoping to get Arenado to chase it 3 times in a row, but that time able to check his swing. The ball just dropped off that inside corner.
D-backs lead at 3-1, each team with 3 hits. Inside with a fastball.
Talk about making a guy move his feet. You don't have to throw it at his helmet. You can sneak it in there below the waist, above the knees, and force a guy to move his feet like Arenado does right there.
You know, that's something Bob Patrick has always done well. Work inside to right-hand hitters. He's not afraid to get in your kitchen. Jake Lamb at 3rd. 5 straight retired by Corbin. D-backs lead at 3-1.
AJ Pollock will lead it off for the Diamondbacks in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. D-backs lead it 3-1. Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
AJ Pollock, Paul Goldschmidt, and Jake Lamb 2, 3, and 4 in the D-backs 3rd against John Gray, who after a bumpy first has settled down to retire the last 6 he's faced. Fastball's a strike. AJ singled and scored his first time up. More heat from Gray. It's 1-1. John Gray has what his teammate Tyler Anderson calls power hair. And you can see why. It's fairly self-explanatory. Something Gray had to trim in high school and his first few years in the minors because of appearance rules. But since 2016, it's kind of been his trademark look, and Bud Black is fine with it. He says it's an individual thing, no problem.
John Gray just has to hope he never gets traded to the Yankees.
Exactly. The Gray Wolf, as he's known in Denver. John Gray actually makes a habit of donating his hair to Locks of Love, which is a terrific organization that makes hair pieces for children who've suffered long-term hair loss because of illness. And he's got plenty by the end of the year.
Gray started the ball game with kind of a hybrid delivery. It wasn't a full windup. He stood almost sideways in a stretch position and then kind of started his windup from there. This inning he's just throwing out of the stretch. He'll come up into the set position. Yeah, the first two innings it was kind of a mix between a windup and a stretch position, but now he's coming to a full set as if there were runners on base.
AJ takes a close fastball. Full count, 3-2. We see more and more of that, Bob, all over the majors. Pitchers just getting rid of the windup.
Yeah, just a lot of moving parts.
And we've got some Rhodes Scholar has run onto the field without his shirt, and we're not going to give him his precious airtime as he is tackled by the security staff here at Chase Field.
Getting back to that hybrid windup, a lot of pitchers just felt that by stepping back and taking the full windup, raising their hands up over their head, turning their body, lifting that front leg, there's too many things to sync up. And a lot of guys have found that just pitching from the stretch position or some variation of that stretch eliminates a lot of those moving parts.
It's worked well for Steven Strasburg of the Nationals. The Dodgers' Alex Wood says he's gone to that full time. Is not quite sure why he ever even bothered with a windup. And now order has been quickly restored. Full count on AJ Pollock, 3-2, leading off the home half of the third. Waves at a slider, and Gray gets his second strikeout.
Gray's kind of changed his plan of attack. A lot of fastballs early and then goes to the slider once he gets ahead. Ever since that meeting on the mound by pitching coach Steve Foster, he's really gone back to the fastball to set up that slider.
Goldie walked and scored his first time up tonight. Gray now at 50 pitches, 28 strikes. Shallow center, long run for Blackman, and he gets there. So Gray looking for his second consecutive 1-2-3 inning, and the batter will be Jake Lamb. Jake has the big hit in the ball game so far, a two-run double in the first off the wall in right center field. And I think you raised an excellent point. We'll never quite know, I guess, if that was a humidor hit, but they are using the humidor baseballs here at Chase Field. There's the defensive alignment against Lamb. Arenado, the only defender on the left side of the infield.
If I'm not mistaken, the ball came off the bat in the first inning at 105 miles per hour. And on that trajectory in this ballpark, that's usually way out of here, up near the Coors Light strike zone, but banged off the fence at the 413 mark, turned it into a 2-run double.
Lamb homered here against Cleveland's Carlos Carrasco Monday night using the humidor ball. He's ahead 2-0. See Trevor Story, the shortstop, right behind the bag at second. LeMahieu, the second baseman, out in short right field, and Arenado with 5 gold gloves will man the left side. Nationwide Vision Centers gives us a look at the Rockies defense. Missed with a slider, and it's 3-1. Ketel Marte on deck. Jake Lamb last year, career high totals, hits, homers, RBIs, runs scored, OPS. A big all-star year. Fastball in its full 3-2.
I think, like every other Diamondback fan, I would love to see Jake Lamb put 2 good halves together.
Hard to first. Desmond is there. And that's 9 straight retired by John Gray, but the D-backs have a 3-1 lead. The 20th anniversary of the D-backs' first game, and our first 20,000 fans will take home this 1998 replica jersey. That's courtesy of Chase. Visit dbacks.com/20. 5:10 starts Saturdays. We celebrate 20 years of D-backs baseball. We do anticipate Zach Greinke will be the starting pitcher in that game. It was announced actually before the game today that Greinke indeed got the go-ahead from Torey Lovullo. Both starting pitchers seemingly settling in here. Patrick Corbin has retired 5 in a row. And the shortstop Trevor Story leads off the Rockies' 4th. He struck out his first time up. Story always a threat. He begins this year with 51 career home runs, the most by a shortstop through their first 2 seasons in Major League history. And you'll recall the damage he did against Zach Greinke here a couple of years ago.
It remains to be seen if Story has made some adjustments. He's always been vulnerable to that breaking ball. You mentioned the big time strikeout totals last year. But if you make a mistake with a fastball from the middle of the plate in, you can hit him a long way.
Fastball upstairs, and it's 1-2. 81 of his 82 RBIs last year came as a shortstop. That led the National League. So the Rockies, at least for now, content to live with the swing and miss if Story is producing the way he has so far. But you can't love it. 191 strikeouts last year, 5th most in the majors.
Wow.
There are guys I bet you played with, all-star caliber players, who might not have struck out 191 times in their careers.
Yeah, you're probably right. Again, going back even farther, back in the days of Ted Williams and some of those great Yankees teams, they had guys, they would walk more than they struck out every year.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Trevor Story. Reaches out and pokes it into right field, the leadoff single.
Pretty good pitch right out there on the outside corner, maybe a little bit off of the outside corner. Story with an opposite field approach. Highly unusual to see him do that, but gets a line drive into right field for a leadoff base hit here in the 4th.
D-backs will put the shift on with Story at first and Carlos Gonzalez the hitter. Lamb all by himself on the left-hand side. Cargo a strikeout victim to end the 1st. Little squib shot. Corbin's on it. And they're able to cut down Story at second base. They get the lead man.
Dangerous decision that time by Patrick Corbin, but it worked out because of the stretch at second base by Nick Ahmed. Watch him make like a first baseman. Reach out there. He knows he's got to get that ball before Story gets to the bag. A little bit of a dangerous play for Patrick, but a nice play by Nick to get the out at second base.
Ian Desmond now. Another first pitch slider from Corbin. That's the slow one. It's 0-1.
Yeah, the slow one usually sits in the upper 70s, between 76 and 79 miles an hour. The harder one is up in the low 80s, approaching 85 at times when he really throws it hard.
What's the biggest benefit to you to having a fast slider and a slow slider?
Well, it's 2 different pitches. I mean, you may recognize the rotation on the pitch as a hitter, but until it leaves his hand and gets about halfway to home plate, it's tough to judge the velocity. You may see slider rotation right away, but it might be 75. The next one is slider rotation at 83.
And you can see the pitch speed range there. The fastball at 94, that slow slider at 77. Works effectively as an off-speed pitch. 0-2 on Desmond. Sellout crowd opening day here in Arizona. Steve Berthew, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth with you. The D-backs and the Rockies, a rematch of last October's National League wildcard game, which was an amazingly loud night here in this ballpark. That was a whole lot of fun. Corbin at 60 pitches, 38 strikes. Swing and a miss. Desmond strikes out. That's 6 strikeouts for Patrick Corbin.
He's got it going on. That slider, whether he changes speeds or not, he's able to command it at the bottom of the strike zone and get some ugly looking swings.
Boy, Patrick, Bob, has done a really nice job settling down after he gave up the home run to LeMahieu, the second batter he faced tonight. Parra singled in the second. Cargo, the runner at first and 2 down. Parra can be a pain in the neck even against a left-hand pitcher. Last year, just over 100 plate appearances versus lefties. He hit almost 350. So he can certainly defend himself up there against a left-hander. Rolled foul behind Tony Diaz at first, and here we go. That is Sid Doc Rosenblatt, our Golden Glovers. We got some veterans here tonight, BB. It's opening night. You've got Ron Don't Call Me Cliff Pennington down there in left, and the doctor is in right. There's Doc Rosenblatt. We couldn't go with rookies on opening night.
Oh no.
Yeah, we need established big league veterans down there.
Run prevention is important opening day.
Nicely done. 1-1 on Parra.
Yeah, we really shouldn't be surprised that Patrick Corbin has pitched so effectively with that slider here tonight. It was just a few years ago that Todd Helton, one of the great Rockies of all time, said that's the best slider I've seen since Randy Johnson. That's high praise from a really, really good hitter.
That's when Patrick had that all-star season in 2013. He was just sensational. 11 wins at the all-star break. Lifted out pretty deep left field. Peralta drifting near the line, and he's got it. Bottom 4 on the way. Corbin and the Diamondbacks lead at 3-1. His first at bat as a New York Yankee off Jay Happ at the Rogers Center in Toronto. So Stanton not only homers in his first Yankee AB, he hit 2 in his Yankee debut. This saw former D-backs great Tyler Clippard. So Giancarlo already with 2 in the books. And the Yankees 6-1 winners over the Blue Jays on opening day. How about that?
I got a feeling they're going to need a humidor at Yankee Stadium before this season's over.
Get him and Aaron Judge going. Ketel Marte will lead off the bottom of the 4th against John Gray. The other big home run headline across the majors on this opening day, turned in by another former D-back great, Matt Davidson. Hit 3 home runs for the White Sox in Kansas City.
Who knew?
White Sox beat the Royals 14-7. Marte out to Story. He can't find it, and Ketel's aboard to lead off the 4th. Boy, he's got this habit of just kind of slapping and slicing the ball when he's in there in the left-hand batter's box.
Yeah, really lets it get deep into the hitting zone. Occasionally when he does make contact to the left side, that ball has some funny side English on it, and Trevor Story just couldn't come up with it cleanly that time. I don't know if he could have gotten Marte at first base anyway.
4th hit for the Diamondbacks. That snaps a stretch of 9 straight retired by Gray. And here's Alex Avila, who had an RBI ground out in his first at bat as a Diamondback back in that 3-run first. Can check his swing on that slider. It's 0-1. Speaking of former D-backs, I haven't seen it. I should. But it was not a good Twins debut for La Flecha. Fernando Rodney today, a blown save in Baltimore.
Yeah, gave up a walk-off home run to Adam Jones of the Orioles today.
Twins lost at Oriole Park 3-2 the final there. 60 pitches now for Gray, only 35 for strikes. Ahead here 0-2. John Gray had a 30-pitch first. Diamondback scored 3 times, but he has settled down since then. A 13-pitch second and a 14-pitch third. Shift is on for Avila. Dave McKay back again, the best in the business, coaching at first. Tony Perez-Chica coaching at third. Marte takes off. Avila tries to drop one into center. It bounces in front of Blackman. Couple of singles open up the D-backs 4th against John Gray. Avila's first hit as a Diamondback.
Marte on the move. I'm not sure if this was a hit and run or if Avila was just protecting the runner, but gets jammed. It's a little floater out there in no man's land. That'll work.
Chance for Nick Ahmed, who struck out to end the first. Marte at second, Avila at first, and nobody out. D-backs now with 5 hits. There's that Gray slider. Comes back with a hard fastball, and it's 0-2. John Gray closer than he's ever been really to being a finished product. He's always had that big fastball, but now locating, mixing that slider, curveball, changeup, variations on his breaking pitches. Bud Black has been all over him about improved fastball command, and if he can put it together, he could be one of the best pitchers in this division. That's a weapon, that pitch there, that Gray has really become fond of. He calls it a down slider, his ground ball pitch. Had a lot of sharp movement on it this spring. He feels like it's a pretty good pitch for him in any count. Doesn't quite break as much as his other slider, but he can get ground balls with it. Missed with a fastball, and Nick is back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gerard Dyson on deck. Steve Foster, the pitching coach for Colorado. Well, we have StatCast, Bob, and the boys in the truck have put this together on Alex Avila's single.
Exit velocity 84 miles an hour. The hit probability only 33%, but if you hit it in the right place, it doesn't matter what those numbers say. Little broken bat floater that fell in front of Charlie Blackmon out there in center field beyond Trevor Story's reach.
Still 2-2 on Ahmed. 2 on, no outs. Nick swinging a miss on that fastball. 3rd strikeout for Gray.
Yeah, nothing tricky there, just some old-fashioned hardball. John Gray with that big fastball just rears back and fires a 4-seamer over that outside corner. Nick just trying to protect the plate that time, came up empty.
Gerard Dyson grounded out his first time up. Arenado has to creep in just a bit at 3rd, toes on the grass down there. He's got to stay near the bag with runners at 1st and 2nd. Well, if Dyson could just punch one through at shortstop, could get Marte home with a 4th run. Story, the shortstop, near the bag. Lifted in the air, very short left field. Parra coming in, Story going out. It's Parra. 2 down in the 4th.
Pitcher, Manfred, Corbin.
Patrick Corbin now. Ketel Marte at 2nd, Alex Avila at 1st. 2 down in the 4th. Gray at 70 pitches, 42 strikes. Well, that was a big miss there by Gary Cederstrom.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch to do anything with. Out of the strike zone, down low and away. Good take that time by Patrick Corbin. Now you got to go to work.
All part of the new technology that we've incorporated at Fox Sports Arizona. We just showed you the StatCast. We've got the strike zone up there all the time for you. And a few other surprises in store from Brian Moss and Brad the Big Dog Weimer. Have we settled on a nickname for Brian Moss?
I don't think so.
I don't love No Moss because, you know, we want him in there. We don't want no more Brian.
No.
I have to work on that.
Moss.
0-2. Big slow curveball, and Gray gets his 4th strikeout. We're through 4. It's 3-1 D-backs. Back at Chase Field on opening night, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Kate Longworth with you. Set for the start of the fifth inning. Patrick Corbin and the Diamondbacks leading the Rockies 3-1 on this March 29th, the earliest opening day in Major League history.
Yeah, which made it tough to find our Geico legacy moment, but we found out that Todd Helton back in 2001 signed a 9-year, $141.5 million contract extension, the highest contract ever given to a Rockies player. We were talking about Todd Helton earlier in the ball game. He was a Rocky for life and one of the most beloved ball players to ever play in the Mile High City.
He's got his number 17 retired at Coors Field, and now you can go out there and buy some Todd Helton burgers on the outfield concourse. Former D-back, a Rocky once again, Chris Arenado will lead off the fifth against Patrick Corbin.
Boy, Patrick's been really good since he labored through that first inning, threw 21 pitches in the first. Since then, he's thrown 16, 13, and 15. Been very efficient.
D-backs have out-hit Colorado 5-4. Arenado, the strikeout victim his first time. Well, the Diamondbacks, if they're going to repeat last year's success, will need to take care of business at home. Remember, that was an issue 2 years ago. But last year, the D-backs 52-29 here at Chase Field. The Major League's second best home winning percentage. Yes, he went and it's 0-2. Only the Dodgers were better at home than the Diamondbacks last year. That helped Torey Lovullo collect the National League Manager of the Year award. Not only that, the D-backs were 21-6 with the roof open. And we're all opened up on a gorgeous night tonight. Roof and outfield panels. Right by the glove of Corbin into center. It's a base hit for Arenado to start the fifth.
Arenado does a nice job of waiting for that breaking ball to get into the hitting zone. He keeps his hands back even though he got his weight out on the front foot and just snaps that ball into center field for a leadoff knock.
John Gray, the pitcher. Here comes Lamb halfway in from third.
You definitely want to be aggressive here. You could have a chance to get the lead runner at second base if he bunts the ball hard.
Squares to bunt, first base side. Goldie's on it. Marte covers, and they're able to move Arenado along. Fans, you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, and that allows you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.tv for all the details. Charlie Blackmon 0 for 2. Now the heart of that Rockies order steps up against Corbin here. Charlie Blackmon last year actually hit for a higher average versus lefties than he did against right-hand pitchers. .333 versus lefties last season, including 9 home runs. And that's no small sample size, well over 200 plate appearances.
Yeah, Charlie Blackmon last year just hit everything from everybody. It didn't
sure
seem
did.
to make any difference. Right, left, hard thrower, soft tosser. He was going to get his knocks.
The first center fielder to win a batting title since Willie McGee in 1990. Arenado, the runner at second and 1 out. Doubled up on that slow slider there. Both times Blackmon is laid off, and it's 3 balls and no strikes with LeMahieu on deck. Fastballs in there, 3-1. Charlie Blackmon last year set a major league record, 103 RBIs from the leadoff spot. And he's up there and an RBI chance right here. Another fastball, another strike, full count, 3-2.
But occasionally you get in a situation like this and you think about maybe pitching around a guy and going after the next hitter in the lineup. Look for that double play ball, but you're right in the teeth of this Rockies lineup. You do not want to put anybody on base.
This is the sharp end of the stick. Trying a slider again. Blackmon lays off. First base on balls issued by Patrick. And now he'll work to LeMahieu, who homered in the first.
Now that home run by DJ LeMahieu back in the first came on an 0-2 pitch. Patrick has had 7 0-2 counts in this game as Mike Butcher heads out to the mound. One of them was the DJ LeMahieu homer, and then the single by Story, the single by Arenado, all on 0-2 pitches.
And now the Diamondbacks will be charged with their first of 6 permissible mound visits under the new guideline. This is the new official baseball rule, 5.10M. Mound visits without a pitching change limited to 6 per team. You get 1 additional mound visit for every extra inning played. And if you go out and take the pitcher out of the game, that does not count as a mound visit. A threat here for the Rockies. Diamondbacks have a 3-1 lead. Arenado the runner at second and Blackmon at first. 1 out for LeMahieu. And there you go. They have 5 left. Arenado is the first Rockies base runner to get to second since he homered in the first inning. Or since LeMahieu homered, pardon me. Patrick keeps trying to get him to bite on that slow slider, but they're laying off. He's behind now, 1-0. Pollock in center, shaded a few steps over toward the pool. And Peralta well off the line in left. Double play ball. Marte, Ahmed, Goldie, they roll it. Boy, Patrick Corbin needed that in the worst way, and he came up big time. It's still 3-1. Fans, join T-Mobile and score free MLB.tv all season long. Sign up now through April 2nd at T-Mobile.com/MLB. The leadoff man, David Peralta, leads it off in the D-backs' 5th against Rockies starter John Gray. Peralta has singled, scored a run, grounded out. He's 1 for 2. Boy, that was an enormous ground ball right there for Patrick Corbin, Bob. Really got himself out of a pickle.
Yeah, I mean, the old saying is double play is a pitcher's best friend. You've got to execute the pitch in order to get the batter to hit the ball on the ground, and that time made a perfect pitch to LeMahieu to get that double play ground.
Yeah, you got 2 on, 1 out. You're working to LeMahieu. Arenado sitting there on deck. That was enormous. There's the John Gray curveball, a pitch that he's made some progress with. That was not a great one there. Avila and Marte. That's some of the leadership that they're missing with Chris Arenado. Alex Avila can step in and fill that role, the veteran catcher. Peralta lines it to right. Cargo plays it on a hop. Second hit tonight for David.
We talked about David Peralta in that leadoff spot this season. Most nights you're only going to get to lead off one time, and that's your first at bat of the ball game. But here in the 5th inning, David Peralta finds himself leading off again and does his job, gets on base.
And A.J. Pollock in the 2-hole. A.J. has singled and struck out. D-backs now with 6 hits. First pitch fastball missed. It's 1-0. Try the slider. It's 2 balls and no strikes. First action tonight in either bullpen. The left-hander Chris Russin. John Gray approaching 80 pitches for the ball game. So far he's walked 1. He's got 4 strikeouts. Slider missed. It's 3-0.
Now 1 pitch, 1 zone right here. If you're A.J. Pollock, I would assume that Torey Lovullo will give him the hit away if it's a pitch to his liking. And in that case, it's 1 pitch in 1 zone. And if it's not there, take it, even if it's a strike.
Ball 4. First 2 have reached in the Diamondback 5th. Second walk for Gray. Goldie walked his first time up. He flied out in the 3rd. Bud Black on the top step. And he's going to stay there for the moment.
Russin, the only arm up in the Rockies bullpen. I would imagine he's ready to go for Jake Lamb, the next hitter.
Goldie last season top 5 in the league in RBIs, extra base hits, and OPS. Chance to do some damage right here. Mayhew sneaking back there behind Peralta, trying to keep him close at second. Another slider from Gray, a ball and a strike. Fastball close right on the corner there, but Gary Cederstrom didn't bite. 2-1.
A little bit of a false start out there at second base that time by David Peralta. Did a crossover step and took a big aggressive stride toward third base and then slammed on the brakes. A.J. Pollock had to do the same thing behind him. It may have been a little distracting Goldie that time, seeing Peralta jumping around out there at second base. Some hitters, it doesn't bother them at all. Other guys notice it right away.
2-2. Did he go? No, says Eric Cooper. It's full.
Ooh, strong wrists and forearms right there by Paul Goldschmidt to hold that barrel back.
Jake Lamb on deck. His 2-run double in the first has been the game's big hit so far. 3-2 to Goldie. Ball 4, the bases are loaded. This was the situation that Lamb faced in the first. Bases full of Diamondbacks. He doubled off the wall in right center. Bud Black has a lefty ready, and he's going to go to Chris Russin. So John Gray's night ends here in the 5th. He trails with the bases loaded. D-backs have a 3-1 lead. D-backs have a 3-1 lead on a bases loaded no out situation here at Chase Field, where next week we'll be chanting "Beat LA." The Dodgers come to town for a 3-game set starting Monday. Wednesday's game at 12:40 start. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com. Clayton Kershaw, the opening day starter, beaten in LA today 1-0 by Ty Blach and the Giants. New pitcher for the Rockies, the lefty swingman Chris Russin. Last year, his first season as a full-time reliever, and he pitched very well. 60 relief appearances, 5-1 with a 2.65 ERA, the best of his career.
Really did a nice job commanding 2 different fastballs, a 2-seam sinker and a cutter. Also throws an occasional slider, but everything last year for Chris Russin was down, down, down.
Well, one of the big narratives for the Diamondbacks this year will be Jake Lamb against left-hand pitchers. He's up there against a lefty now. Bases full and no outs. Jake says he is well aware of the numbers. Last year, 144 against left-hand pitchers. 2 years ago, he hit just 164 versus lefties. And he says he's at a point now where that has to improve. You saw the numbers career against Russin. He realizes what's going on. And he believes he's just got to go prove that he can hit left-hand pitching. Not really prove it to anybody, but kind of in a way prove it to himself. He's got Peralta at third, Pollock at second, and Goldie at first. Chance to break the game open here in the fifth.
Now this is where in years past you probably would have seen Chris Arenado run out to the mound. There's obviously some difference in opinion as to the pitch that needs to be thrown right here. You have to go through a series of signs. With that runner at second base, Russin had to step off twice before finally getting the pitch he wanted, and then he missed badly with it.
Almost hit him with a fastball.
We talk all the time about pitchers getting into a rhythm out there on the mound. They get the ball back from the catcher, they clean off the rubber, they get up there, get ready to throw the next pitch. If they have to shake off too much, it throws them out of their rhythm.
You know, and you don't want to hoard these mound visits. You're in a 3-1 ball game here. Fifth inning, bases loaded with an all-star at the plate. Now wouldn't be a bad time to burn one if there is a miscommunication. Saving them is all well and good, but there's a time to use them. There's the pitching coach, Steve Foster. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Jake Lamb. Struck him out with a changeup.
You see that full hand grip on the ball there, turns it over a little bit, gets some sinking action down and in, but the change in speed was enough to get Jake out front.
Now the switch hitter Ketel Marte will step in from the right side. He has grounded out and singled 1 for 2. And remember, Marte tripled from both sides of the plate against these Rockies in last year's wild card game. Another left-hand batter is on deck, and Alex Avila. There is no one warming up in the Rockies bullpen, so this is Russin's mess to fix. Peralta, Pollock, Goldie on the bases with 1 out. Two and 0.
I'm not saying this is what Torrey will do if we get to Alex Avila's spot here in this inning, but the fact you're carrying 3 catchers would allow you to pinch hit for Alex Avila in this situation if you felt it was a chance to blow the game wide open.
You've got Jeff Mathis and John Ryan Murphy on the bench. There they are.
And as you said, nobody warming in the Colorado bullpen, so you're almost guaranteed that a right-handed batter is going to get a hack against a left-handed pitcher.
Another changeup missed, and it's 3-0. Marte swings on the 3-0 and hits it foul.
A 3-0 swing would have cost him $50 if he was playing for Frank Robinson. If you have the count in your favor and get the green light to swing away, you better not hit a cue shot to the opposite field foul. Frank didn't care if you pulled it 400 feet foul down the left field line, but get a good aggressive swing and try to barrel something. That almost looked like a defensive 2-strike swing.
It's another one in the air over there. Here comes Cargo in foul territory. And he's able to make a backhand catch. Gets it in there quickly. Peralta holds it third. That hurts.
That was a pretty nice play by Cargo.
Yeah.
I thought that ball was up into the stands, but he didn't give up on it. Ran over there and just kind of threw his glove out there on a backhanded attempt. Took it right away from that fan. Crashes into the side wall. That's a big play for the Rockies right there.
Well, you've got some right-hand bats on the bench. You've got two other catchers on the bench, but Avila will hit against the left-hander here. Bases full and 2 outs. He has an RBI ground out and a single. Well, we heard this place get awfully loud in the wild card game last October. You see Avila last year with the Tigers and the Cubs about just under 220 versus lefties. Nearly 49,000 in here tonight, waiting for a moment to break this game open. Oh, bouncer to second. Diamondbacks had bases loaded, no outs. Chris Russin comes in and puts out the fire. And it stays 3-1.
D-backs up 3-1 on opening night as we head to the 6th inning. And prior to the game, Torey Lovullo was presented the hardware for being named last year's National League Manager of the Year. Torey said he felt very humbled by the award, even admitted that it was a bit awkward that he was going to be presented with this today because he never imagined this would happen. But he said it was very important for him to have his wife out there as well as his coaching staff as he received the award because he said it was their support that led him to this. He also said it was very special for him to have this opportunity to share this moment with the fans because they have given him his support from day one, and he felt like this belonged to the Diamondbacks organization as much as it belongs to him.
Kate, certainly a great honor both for Torey and the D-backs. National League Manager of the Year award winner from last year. Patrick Corbin back out there. Nolan Arenado will lead off the Rockies' 6th. Well, that was really a missed opportunity for the Diamondbacks there in the bottom of the 5th inning. Bases loaded, no outs, but Lamb struck out. Marte, who was ahead 3-0, fouled out. Avila grounded out. And since Jake Lamb's 2-run double in the 1st inning, the Diamondbacks have gone 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, and they've left 6. Arenado drives one deep to left and gone. Nolan Arenado pulls the Rockies within 1. Well, he hit 37 last year. And he hits the Rockies' second home run tonight against Patrick Corbin.
This is center cut fastball that time to Arenado, a guy that's been struggling to get to the slider in the early going. Just left it over the plate a little bit too much, and once again just does sneak it up into that front row in left field.
Oh, back and forth ball game for Colorado. They had the bases loaded, no outs, trailing 3-1. They got out of a jam. Arenado now pulls them back within one. So a big swing there. Bottom 5, top 6. Here's Trevor Story, who's 1 for 2.
Yeah, for the Diamondbacks, not only did they have the bases loaded and not score in the 5th, they had the first 2 men on in the 4th inning and weren't able to push a run across.
Each team now with 6 hits. Both Colorado runs coming on solo homers. LeMahieu in the 1st and now Arenado in the 6th. Long ball was a bit of an issue for Patrick Corbin last year. He gave up 26. Only one other game in progress right now on opening day. The Indians, who were just here, trail in Seattle. Mariners have a 2-1 lead at Safeco Field. They're in the 7th. That was Kluber against King Felix. Ty Blach, the opening day starter for the Giants in LA. They beat Kershaw and the Dodgers 1-0. Joe Panik's home run against Kershaw, the game's only run. Padres lost their opener at home. Brewers beat him at Petco Park 2-1. Story strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. That's 7 in the ball game for Corbin.
And we were talking about Trevor Story punching out 191 times last season, and said that some of the guys that played back in the day didn't strike out that much in their career. Well, Yogi Berra did strike out 414 times in a 19-year career. Never more than 38 in a season.
Jorge De La Rosa, the left-hander, starts to warm up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Carlos Gonzalez 0 for 2 so far. D-backs have the shift on. I wonder if those strikeout numbers for everybody all over the league will get worse this year, with seemingly everybody trying to lift and separate. Everybody swinging up, trying to launch the ball in the air. Look out.
Look out.
Ooh. That one well past the protective netting that the D-backs have extended here to the far end of either dugout.
A tremendous distance. That's clear past the first base dugout near that tunnel over there. Hopefully everybody's okay.
That's a good spot for it to land, just down the steps and out of danger. 0-2 now on Gonzalez. A look at the defensive alignment. Diamondbacks have the shift on. Nationwide vision, our eye on the game. Jake Lamb, the only defender on the left-hand side. Just got a piece of that slider to stay alive. Cargo did not re-sign with the Rockies until March 12th. So just about 2 weeks ago, give or take. And he admitted that all winter long he pretty much pictured himself wearing a different uniform, but it didn't happen. So he's back here in a 1-year deal. Called strike 3. There's the fastball. 8 strikeouts for Patrick.
He's done a nice job on Carlos Gonzalez in this game, throwing off-speed pitches early in the count and then freezing him with a fastball on the inside corner there for a called strike 3.
2 down for Ian Desmond. Desmond has grounded out, struck out. He's 0 for 2. Patrick now at 90 pitches, 57 strikes. Trying to get through 6 innings with a 3-2 lead. Bullpen is getting busy for the D-backs. Pitcher spot is due up third in the home half of the 6th. Desmond pokes it through the hole and into right. A 2-out single that'll bring up Gerardo Parra. Torey Lovullo has a left-hander working down there in De La Rosa.
Left fielder Gerardo Parra.
And he'll make the move. Patrick Corbin, his first career opening day start. He will leave in the 6th inning with a 3-2 lead. Back after this. Five and 2/3 in his first opening day start. Gave up 2 runs, 7 hits, walked only 1, had 8 strikeouts. Our Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing, cool plays of the game.
Real solid performance by Patrick Corbin. First pitcher out of the chute this year for the Diamondbacks. Did his job, kept his team in the ball game, kept this powerful Rockies offense in check with the exception of a couple of solo homers.
And now he'll turn it over to the veteran lefty Jorge De La Rosa, who will turn 37 years old in just a few days. Back with the D-backs for his 15th major league season. And now the former Rocky faces the former D-back as Gerardo Parra steps in. This is a De La Rosa special. He was the best in the majors last year at stranding inherited base runners. He inherited 33 runners last year and only 1 scored. His numbers: 65 appearances, a 4.21 ERA. Corbin responsible for Desmond at first with 2 outs. And the run is in on the Arenado homer. Fernando Salas, who came to spring training on a minor league deal, won himself a major league job. He's ready in the bullpen along with left-hander Andrew Chafin. Here's the splitter from De La Rosa, his signature pitch, and it's 1-2. Bullpen busy as well for Colorado. They invested heavily in that bullpen in the offseason. Mike Dunn, the lefty. Rockies spent a whole bunch of money in their back end. Goldie at first, knocks it down, recovers, and scrambles to the bag. De La Rosa strands another base runner. Corbin through 6 with a 3-2 lead.
Solid performance by Patrick Corbin to open the season for the Diamondbacks. The D-backs lead the Rockies 3-2. The day after every Diamondbacks win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Left-hander Chris Rossanu got out of a bases-loaded no-out jam in the 5th that John Gray left him. Will start the 6th inning against Nick Ahmed. 7-8-9 due up here for the D-backs in the home half. Nolan Arenado's solo homer has made it a 1-run D-backs lead. Now this is an interesting matchup because Nick last year hit nearly 400 against left-hand pitchers. And we would see Torey Lovullo last year occasionally have Nick batting in the 2-hole in the lineup against some left-hand starters. He struck out twice in 2 at-bats against John Gray. Jerry Nair and the bench coach Torey Lovullo going over things with Jorge De La Rosa. Boy, they have a ton of faith in that guy based on what he did last year. And for good reason. Little backdoor cutter gets the strike call, and it's 1-2. Dice it on deck, pitcher spot after that. Nick reaches out and lifts it foul into the seats. There is no one warming up in the Rockies bullpen. The Diamondbacks bullpen is busy. And we've wondered about the formula for Torey Lovullo with a lead 7-8-9. And we may get a chance to find out here. And we anticipated, based on Bob our discussions with Torey, that we would see Yoshihisa Hirano perhaps in the 7th, Archie Bradley in the 8th, and Brad Boxberger in the 9th. And indeed Hirano warming up maybe for his D-backs debut, chafing ready as well down there.
And a lot of that is dependent on where you're at in the opposition lineup as well. And this appears to set up really well for Torey to do what he talked about. Hirano in the 7th inning. He'll be facing the 8, 9, and 1 hitter for the Rockies. Hopefully that's it. That would set it up for Archie Bradley to potentially pitch that 8th inning through the middle of the Rockies order, and then set it up for Brad Boxberger to come back in the 9th and close it.
Boxberger given the closer's job at the tail end of spring training, a guy who 3 years ago in Tampa Bay led the American League with 41 saves, but has battled injuries the last 2 years. One of the new D-backs this year. Nick has worked it full 3-2. Takes a cutter. Russin couldn't quite sneak it through the back door. Ahmed a leadoff walk.
Right fielder.
Gerard Dyson is the hitter. Chris Owings, the right-hand batter, coming out in the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher. Fourth base on balls drawn by D-backs hitters tonight. Dyson so far has grounded out, flied out.
Potential bunt for a base hit situation for Dyson right here. If he bunts it perfectly, you'd have 2 Diamondbacks on base. If he can just get it down and move Nick into scoring position, it would set up a possible run.
Arenado close on the grass at third. Arenado pounces on that one, and they get Dyson at first. Says Eric Cooper, hold on.
I don't know.
Let's see what Alan Campbell sees in the Diamondbacks video room. That was awfully close. Remember, it's a catch when the ball is in the back of the mitt, and if that's the case, Dyson looks like he was safe.
Yeah, he sure did. I mean, even with the naked eye, at full speed, it looked like he beat that. Boy, can he get down that line.
He can fly. Torey Lovullo says this is elite speed you're looking at.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he beat
that. That was
out.
a great play by Chris Arenado. Really good bunt by Dyson, but a nice play by Arenado to scoop and throw on the run, and Dyson still beat it out. I think.
Now you see some of the Rockies infielders asking the umpires if they're allowed to go to the mound, and when there is a stoppage in play, such as a timeout or a review, you can go to the mound, and this does not constitute a mound visit according to the new rule. And the fans here, nearly 49,000, have seen the replay on the video board, and indeed the call is overturned. He's safe at first. So it's an infield single for Dyson. 2 on, no outs, and Owings will hit for the pitcher.
I like the fact that Dyson didn't just square around early and give himself up. When you have that kind of speed, and bunting is a big part of your game, go ahead and try to bunt for the base hit. Did it perfectly that time.
So here's CO batting for Jorge De La Rosa. Owings just under 100 games last year, 268 career highs with those 12 homers and 51 RBIs. 2 on and no out. Ahmed at second and Dyson at first. Corners come in for the Rockies. Diamondbacks wasted a golden opportunity in the 5th when they had bases full, no outs. A chance to get some runs back here in the 6th. High fly ball, deep center. Blackman is there near the track. Ahmed tags and heads for third. Dyson holds it first. CO gave it a ride. And now it's David Peralta, who has singled twice and scored a run.
And now we are going to have a full-blown meeting on the mound.
This will be the second mound visit for the Rockies. They will have 4 left as Gary Cederstrom takes notes.
Well, we've talked about how tough Russin can be on left-handers, but not so much on David Peralta last year at Coors Field. A monster home run to right. Been deep into the second deck, just fair.
Well, one of the reasons that Torey Lovullo, and there are a whole bunch of them, likes David Peralta in this leadoff spot is because he can handle himself against left-hand pitching. He's got a couple of hits tonight, both off of the right-hander John Gray, but Peralta last year nearly 270 versus lefties with that good opposite field approach.
Yeah, meeting on the mound may have had more to do with what the Rockies are going to do should Gerard Dyson break for second base than how they're going to pitch to David Peralta. He got some speed on the bases right now.
First and third, 1 out. D-backs in the ball game have stranded 6. The numbers on David last year, just under 270 versus left-handers. Almost hit him with a fastball, and it's 1-1. Ahmed, the runner at third. Dyson with great speed at first. Tapper to third. Arenado charges. No play at home. Peralta's safe, and the Diamondbacks have a 4-2 lead as Ahmed scores. Just a little squib shot. Arenado couldn't do a whole lot with it.
That's a tough play for any third baseman. The ball cued right off the end of the bat. Had a lot of side English. He tries to make the barehanded play and flip onto home. Can't come up with it cleanly. By the time he gets a hold of the ball, David's safe at first with an RBI infield hit.
His third hit tonight. Bud Black to the mound. D-backs lead at 4-2. Back after this. Everybody's excited that it's opening day. 48,703, a sellout at Chase Field, where the D-backs lead the Rockies 4-2. Next week we'll be chanting Beat LA, but first we have to finish off the series against the Rockies. And don't forget, fans, this Saturday a 5-10 start as the Diamondbacks celebrate 20 years of D-backs baseball. Replica jerseys handed out. Zach Greinke will be on the mound for that game. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks. Saturday a 5-10 start. Visit dbacks.com/20. That 1998 replica jersey is courtesy of Chase.
You know, partner, we've had a lot of discussions around the ballpark, the possible effects of the humidor on the baseball and how the ball carries, and maybe you'd have to change your offensive approach. This is truly a small ball inning. A walk, a bunt for a base hit, a fly out moves the runner to third, and then a infield single that probably went about 50 feet up the third baseline to score a run.
A.J. Pollock fouls the first one from Scott Oberg straight back. Oberg last year, you saw the numbers, 66 appearances, a career high. He came in a big spot in his first ever postseason appearance in the wild card game here last year and struck out both Goldie and J.D. Martinez. And he's got some work to do here. 2 on and 1 out with a run in. A.J. singled and scored in the first, struck out in the third, he walked in the fifth. Most of the damage tonight for the Diamondbacks offensively done by the first 4 in the order. They are a combined 5 for 10 with 3 walks and 3 RBIs. Peralta, Pollock, Goldie, and Lamb. Dyson, the runner at second, Peralta at first. There go the runners. No throw from Arenado, double steal.
Oberg a little bit slow to the plate with that big high leg kick. Gerard Dyson got a nice primary lead and then just took off for second base on first movement. Both runners safe. 2 men in scoring position now for AJ.
And now the infield comes in for the Rockies. 2-2 on Pollock. .98 miles an hour from Scott Oberg on that fastball. Just got a piece of a slider to stay alive.
With the Rockies playing their infield all the way in, especially the 2 guys up the middle, Story and LeMahieu, David Peralta can get a big lead out there at second base. He should be able to score on just about anything hit to the outfield if he gets a big secondary lead out there.
Infielders all in on the grass. Another 2-2. Got him.
You mentioned Oberg was throwing hard, gets a lot of movement on this one. Looked like perhaps a 2-seamer with just enough movement to sneak it under the bat of AJ Pollock.
Goldie has walked twice, scored a run, and flied out. 0 for 1 so far. Second and third, 2 outs. Another hard fastball. Arenado gets in front, keeps Dyson at third. With his speed, the ball doesn't have to trickle too far away from Chris for Dyson to come on home.
Yeah, not only on the pitch itself, but on the throwback. As a catcher, you've got to be careful with the speedy runner down there at third base. He times your delivery back to the pitcher and tries to steal home that way.
David Peralta did that a few years ago against a Rockies catcher. Fastball down and away, 2-1.
Yeah, you'll notice that Chris Arenado, after he caught that pitch, took a peek down to third base just to make sure Dyson was going back to the bag at third rather than creeping up the line toward home. Only then did he throw the ball back to his pitcher.
Two balls and 1 strike. Another fastball missed, and it's 3-1 with Lamb on deck. Goldie's already walked twice tonight. Colorado bullpen is quiet. All four, the bases are loaded for Lamb.
A big point in the ball game and a big point for a fan right here. Some lucky fan. If Jake Lamb can hit a home run into the RamTrucks.com pool area, some lucky fan will win a truck.
Well, Lamb was up with the bases loaded in the first against John Gray. Hit a 2-run double off the wall in right center. Another mound visit. That's the third for the Rockies. That's a pretty good deal.
One here. Hit it right there.
Drive home in a beautiful Ram truck with a Lamb slam. Diamondbacks have had plenty of opportunities to break this game wide open, and so far have not been able to come up with a big hit. Dyson at third, Peralta at second, and Goldie at first.
I'd say I'm a little surprised right here. I thought we'd see a left-hander up in the bullpen for Jake Lamb. I thought we'd see an intentional walk to Goldie to get to Jake Lamb, but Bud Black has no lefties warming up. Dunn was throwing earlier, but he's had a seat.
Looking for that Lamb slam. They have Jake McGee, who just got a 3-year contract extension, the left-hander, but he's still sitting down. So here we go for Lamb. Sliders a strike, and it's 0-1. LeMahieu well back on the outfield grass at second, and Story, the shortstop, is behind the bag. Fights one off. That's going to get down for a base hit. Dyson scores. Peralta's right behind. Lamb is in there at second. 6-2 D-backs. A 4 RBI night for Jake Lamb.
Well, not quite as pretty as his last double, but every bit as effective. Little floater out there in front of Gerardo Parra in left field. Great read out there at second base. Good aggressive base running all the way around by the Diamondbacks. Leaves 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs in the inning here for Ketel Marte.
They got tacos. Good start to the season. Marte singled in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. D-backs now with 9 hits. Eighth man to bat in the D-backs 6th inning. Marte can check his swing, but the Diamondbacks tack on 3. We are through 6. They lead at 6-2. For Jake Lamb, RBIs have helped create a 6-2 D-backs lead over the Rockies as we start the 7th. Fans, a reminder, receive 15% off at the Chase Field Team Shop when you use the card by Gila River Casinos. All kinds of new items down there. Check it out at the Team Shop here at Chase Field. Use the card by Gila River Casinos and get 15% off. The D-backs debut and Major League debut for the right-hander Yoshihisa Hirano, a veteran of Japan's Pacific League, where he's posted 156 career saves, but a Major League rookie now at the age of 34 after getting a 2-year deal to join the D-backs in December.
Well, then this is working out probably better than Torey Lovullo had hoped. The situation arising the way it has, you get Hirano in there for the 7th. See if Archie Bradley comes in for the 8th. With a 4-run lead. At this point, there's no save to be had, so maybe we'll see Boxberger today, maybe not.
Arenado leads off the Rockies' 7th. He has struck out and singled. Pitcher spot is up next for Colorado, and Mike Tauchman is in the on-deck circle, the left-hand batter who had himself a tremendous spring and won a opening day roster spot. If you didn't get a chance to see Yoshi in Cactus League play this year, low 90s fastball, the calling card has been an outstanding split finger pitch, which when it's working just drops right off the table and gets a lot of swings and misses. Arenado lines a fastball into left field, the leadoff single. He's 2 for 3. And Tauchman will be announced as the pinch hitter. Last year, .222 without a homer in his first look at the big leagues. But he was named the Rockies' most valuable player in spring training this year. Hitting for the pitcher, Oberg.
Might see a lot of splitters here to Tauchman. He's looking for that ground ball, hopefully get the double play and clear the bases. And the splitter is generally his ground ball pitch. He can get ground balls if he throws that fastball low in the zone, but that splitter has so much downward movement, it's hard to get it in the air.
There's a fastball that got away from Yoshi, and it's a ball and a strike. First thing Mike Hazen said the D-backs liked about Yoshi Hirano was the stuff. The ability with a fastball and the splitter they thought would play very well at the back end of their bullpen. There he is with Jason Parks. But based on Hirano's stuff, there it is right there. That wicked splitter. And the fact that he's here on a 2-year, $6 million deal, he is a potential steal for this front office. He'll mix in the occasional slider as well. He's been sort of playing with that this spring. 1-2 on Tauchman. There it is again, and he gets the strikeout. Get used to that.
That's his go-to pitch. Anytime he's in trouble or looking for a swing and a miss or a ground ball, he's going to throw that splitter. A lot of downward movement.
Charlie Blackmon, the leadoff man, is the hitter. Torey Lovullo going to the mound. He'll take the baseball from Yoshi. We leave in the 7th. 6-2 back after this. 21 appearances and 61 strikeouts. And Bob, based on our discussions with Torey Lovullo, this is setting up exactly the way he said it might. You get some out to the bottom of the order with Hirano. You've got Chafin on to get the lefty Blackman. You've got right-handers behind him in LeMahieu, Arenado, and Story. That would be a spot you might think for Archie Bradley.
Yeah, it would certainly appear to be so on the surface, but this is what gives Torey that balance in the bullpen. He's got 4 right-handers and 3 lefties down there this year, so he can mix and match and play these matchups like this.
Blackman walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Chris Arenado, the runner at first after a leadoff single. That one kicks away from Avila, and Arenado moves up. There indeed is Archie Bradley, and one of the beauties about Archie, Torey says, you can use him against key guys to get 2, 3, 4, even 5 outs maybe. And we might be looking at that situation here on opening night. That's why you leave him where he is and not make him the closer. Chafin, the 3rd reliever used by Torey Lovullo so far tonight, and I believe so far the bullpen card is 0 for 3. Saw Kate Longworth in the cart before the game on the 2-hour pregame show, sitting in the cart with Archie Bradley.
Yeah.
They look good driving around in that thing, but nobody's used it so far tonight.
Well, you can drive it home after the game.
That could be a contest you could come up with your marketing people. Kind of like Tom Berenger in Major League. 2-1 to Blackman. Lays off a slider, and now it's 3 balls and 1 strike with LeMahieu on deck. Archie looks like he's ready down there. That game in Seattle has gone final. The Mariners beat Cleveland 2-1, so this is the last game still in progress on the opening day Major League schedule. Giants 1-0 winners in LA. They beat Kershaw. Padres lost at home 2-1, beaten by the Brewers. That's not a play, and it's 3-2.
Looking at the out-of-town board, only 1 team scored in double digits so far today. The Chicago White Sox, behind Matt Davidson, 3 homers, put a 14 spot on the board. 14-7 winners over Kansas City today.
Former D-back top prospect Matt Davidson, and his hair. Matt has some flow and some moss and the whole thing.
He sure did. He looked like Aquaman.
He did. Full count, 3-2. Just kind of chops that one foul to stay alive.
Yeah, Matt Davidson became the 4th player in Major League Baseball history to homer 3 times on opening day. It had been done by George Bell for the Blue Jays back in '88, Tuffy Rhodes for the Cubs in '94, and Dimitri Young for the Tigers back in '05.
Tuffy Rhodes, that's his great mark of the game.
Pretty much the highlight of his career.
Yeah. It was all downhill after game 1. Well, Chafin loses Blackman. A 1-out walk puts 2 on for DJ LeMahieu. Archie Bradley is ready. Here's Torey Lovullo. He wants to check in, it looks like, with Gary Cedarstrom.
Yeah, with the pitcher spot due up 4th, he's going to make a double switch so Archie can go multiple innings.
There's bullpen coach Mike Fetters with the hat wave indicating that Archie is ready. Now Torey will finish up the paperwork. They're getting ready to bring in the beard. Back after this. Back at Chase Field, Archie Bradley is on. The 25-year-old right-hander, his first season working in relief last year, a tremendous success story. 63 appearances, a 1.73 ERA, a D-backs record for a reliever.
Surrendered only 55 base hits in 73 innings of work, as you mentioned, punched out 79.
Double switch. Devin Marrero takes over at second base, replacing Ketel Marte. Pitcher spot now 5th in the D-backs order. Marrero acquired just about a week ago from the Boston Red Sox. DJ LeMahieu is the hitter. D-backs with a 6-2 lead, 1 out in the 7th. Arenado the runner at second, and Blackman at first for Colorado. 95 from Bradley, and it's 0-1. LeMahieu homered in the first against Patrick Corbin. He's 1 for 3. Torey Lovullo and the D-backs decided Bradley was most valuable to the ball club at this point, back in the role in which he thrived last year, giving them the versatility to get some big outs late in games when they need them, and being able to sort of match up. Double play ball here. Ahmed Marrero, they roll it as Goldie gets the tag on. They brought in the beard, and he got 2 big outs. We stretch at Chase on opening night. They lead at 6-2.
6-2. Yeah, we got a little spoiled last year in the second half with J.D. Martinez hitting balls out of the ballpark the way he did, and we speculated maybe a little small ball. Started with a walk, a bunt for a base hit here by Gerard Dyson, initially called out, but on review ruled safe at first. Chris Owings hit a long fly ball to center. Nick Ahmed tagged up, moved to third, scores on this little squib shot to the left side that Arenado couldn't quite handle. And then the icing on the cake, Jake Lamb with his second RBI double in the game, a little floater into left field that scores 2 more. Small ball.
It's working so far. 6-2 as we start the bottom of the 7th inning. Alex Avila, the catcher, will lead it off against the new pitcher for the Rockies, the left-hander Mike Dunn. He led Colorado last year with those 68 appearances in relief, 5-1 with a 4.47 ERA. Big crowd here tonight, 48,703. Thrilled to see Archie get that double play ball the second time tonight. LeMahieu has hit into a double play. The roof and outfield panels open. Roof expected to be open the next 2 nights for the remaining 2 games of this series. 6:40 tomorrow. That'll be Robbie Ray against Tyler Anderson, a matchup of lefties. And then Zach Greinke will start Saturday at 5:10 against Herman Marquez. So Robbie Ray out there tomorrow night. Here's Avila, who has an RBI ground out and a single. He's 1 for 3. Another thing you like about that Archie Bradley double play ball, Bob, is that he didn't have to burn a whole lot of pitches to get them out of the 7th and should be relatively fresh for the 8th.
And you face the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the Rockies lineup with at least a 4-run lead. You got to like that.
A tremendous weapon for the Diamondbacks last year, Archie Bradley. That's bounced foul to Dave McKay at first. Some boos for Dave McKay. Those old infielder hands let him down a bit on that one. We don't see that a lot from 39 down there. Boy, he was the opening day third baseman for the Blue Jays, their first ever ball game in the snow against the White Sox at Exhibition Stadium.
Players from both teams were shoveling snow off the tarp so they could get that game in.
White Sox had those famous uniforms that were just so ugly they were almost cool. Back in the days of Ralph Garr and Chet Lemon. There's Dave McKay, native Canadian. You can still find that game, by the way, on YouTube. Just type in first ever Blue Jays game. It's pretty fun to watch. 2-2 now on Avila.
It was at old Exhibition Stadium. I had the fortune or misfortune of playing a little bit there at Exhibition Field, and it was not built for baseball. Let's just put it that way.
It was built for Argonauts football, wasn't it?
Yeah, the football field went from the third base foul line straight out to right field, and it was crowned accordingly so the water would run off either side of the football field. Well, that didn't lend itself well to baseball.
Ground ball to LeMahieu, and of course, being a Canadian football field, it was even wider than normal.
Yep.
And so it seemed even more spacious.
But the trade-off was halfway through the season we got to move into Sky Dome, which was at the time the Taj Mahal of ballparks. It had every bell and whistle you could possibly imagine.
I still can't believe they didn't retire your number. Nick Ahmed walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 2. Nick, pretty good against lefties last year, nearly 400. We have our first I know I'm going to stun you with this news. Scoring change.
Check that.
Jake Lamb's 2-run double in the 6th inning. That little squib shot we showed you a moment ago has been changed to a single. So it's a 2-run single for Lamb. He took second on the throw. Always convenient when they decide those things after the fact. Now I'm going to have to erase.
Well, at least you're not using pen. I know some people that do use pen on their scorecard, and they'd be in trouble.
I learned that lesson from the Governor in spring training. Ahmed sends one to left center, and it's off the glove of Parra. Blackman backing up. Nick is in there with a double, and Parra is down. Parra has had his share of injuries with the Rockies. He was on the DL last June with a right quad strain. He missed a month. His start to this spring was delayed. He had the hamate bone removed from his right hand that he may have come down on that pretty hard there. Trainer going to go out and have a look.
Now we know the kind of defender that Gerardo Parra is. He feels like he should catch everything hit his direction. Got that one just off the very tip of the fingers of the glove, but couldn't squeeze it. You know, I would suggest that this would be a good use for the bullpen cart. When one of your outfielders gets hurt on the warning track, send the bullpen cart around to pick up the manager and the trainer and go out and check on the player. That's a long run out there.
I'm not sure that Grant Trenbeth would like to see them driving on this brand new grass, which looks absolutely gorgeous, by the way. This is a new playing surface this year. Brand new grass. This is something that, in talking to Grant before the ball game today, they're very excited about. This is the same grass they've used with a lot of success in other places. Houston, Miami, places where they have dome stadiums. They've used it in Atlanta as well. It is very shade resistant and very durable, and it looks just gorgeous here tonight.
Oh, it sure does. It looks like an opening day field.
Sure does. Gerard Dyson singled, stole a base, scored a run his last time up, 1 for 3. This is not Bermuda. They've used that a lot here. Grant doesn't have to overseed. Not worried about anything like that. The grass can, in this ballpark, get a little worn as the year rolls along. They think this should hold up pretty well. If you wanted to, you could station one of the carts by the dugout instead of the bullpen, and Bud Black could just hop on in there.
Give the managers a segue so they can get out to the outfield and check on their players.
Oh, now you're thinking, how about a hoverboard?
Ooh. Well, I know from experience. I mean, you never want to see one of your players down on the field, but Danny Batista or Reggie Sanders or Steve Finley would go down on the warning track in right center field. I used to keep my fingers crossed. Please get up. Please get up. Number one, I want you to be healthy so we can play you. Number two, I don't want to have to run all the way out to the pool.
Your running days ended a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
All of ours did, in fact. Dyson tries to drop one in. That gets behind Gonzalez. Ahmed will score. Dyson flying into third. Ocargo sold out on that one. Ahmed scored easily, and it's 7-2.
Sounded like he got jammed a little bit. Didn't make a great sound off the bat, but that's probably a good thing. The ball got out there in shallow right field and died. Cargo with the diving attempt just misses it. And Gerard Dyson off to the races here. Kind of slowed down before he got to first. Still made it easily into third base.
And now the D-back debut at the plate for Devin Marrero, the former Sun Devil. Infield comes in for Colorado. Marrero, a .211 hitter in Boston last year, 4 home runs. Today on his first career opening day roster, acquired by the D-backs from the Red Sox just 5 days ago. Former first-round pick by Mike Hazen and some of the D-backs front office members when they were all in Boston. An excellent defensive infielder, can play second, short, and third. Down 0-2. Mike Hazen, Amiel Sade, others in the D-backs front office among the group that drafted Marrero, 24th overall in 2012. While they were in Boston. Things a little more comfortable for Archie Bradley when he goes out there in the 8th inning. It'll be Arenado, Story, and Cargo 3, 4, and 5 for the Rockies. D-backs now with 7 runs on 11 hits. Marrero does most of his damage offensively against left-hand pitching. He hit .291 versus lefties last year. He's got Dyson at third and 1 out. Left field for Parra. That's a base hit. Here comes Dyson, and it's 8-2. RBI single in his D-backs debut for the Sun Devil, Devin Marrero.
Welcome back to the desert, Devin. Boy, a good battling at bat there. He was definitely in swing mode, got to 2 strikes and fouled off some tough pitches. Eventually gets a mistake fastball right down the middle and bangs it into left field for an RBI base hit.
David Peralta. Peralta has singled 3 times. He's got an RBI. He's scored twice. He's stolen a base. Checked his swing. He didn't go. Says Stu Sherwater at third.
David Peralta filling up the box score. 3 singles, a stolen base. He's driven in a run. He's scored 2.
That's why he's in the leadoff spot. Exactly what Torey Lovullo was talking about. A dynamic player in this spot. A guy to bat first who can really impact the baseball. Torrey really feels like with Peralta leading off and Pollock in the 2-hole, you're going to get some real catalysts at the top of this lineup. Long set by Dunn. Big hack at a fastball from Peralta. And it's 1-2. David last year career highs in hits, doubles, and runs scored. Got him. Went to the slider for the strikeout. 2 down. D-backs fans, if you can't watch the game on TV, stream it live in your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's presented locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Just download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and the D-backs with you wherever you go. A.J. Pollock. He has singled, walked, and scored a run. 1 for 3. Hard to third. Arenado throws across his body, and a terrific scoop at first by Desmond. But the Diamondbacks get 2 more. They lead at 8-2.
Now, watch how quickly Nick Ahmed gets the ball out of his glove to Devin Marrero, who throws on to Goldie to complete the double play. We have StatCast. Nick took 0.20 seconds to get the ball in and out of his glove. Marrero just over half a second to catch the throw from Ahmed on to Goldie for the double play. Now, as the season progresses, we'll get a baseline and a league average, and you can tell whether the defenders are getting rid of the ball more quickly than others at their position or slower than others at their position.
That has always been one of the strengths of Nick Ahmed, a tremendously quick release. As Arenado leads off the 8th against Archie Bradley. This is a organization and a new front office that emphasizes run prevention and defense. Good defenders out there. Arenado has singled and homered. He's 2 for 3. D-backs led it 3-1 after 1. Arenado's homer to lead off the 6th made it a 3-2 ball game. But since then, the Diamondbacks scored 3 in the home half of the 6th and 2 more in the 7th. And now they have an 8-2 lead. They have out hit Colorado 12-8. And a lot of that, Bob, taking advantage of opportunities. We mentioned in innings 1 through 5, the D-backs with runners in scoring position were 1 for 10. But in the 6th and 7th inning, 4 for 7 with those runners in scoring position. That's foul. It stays 1-2.
And tonight's a perfect illustration. They don't always have to be line drives into the gap or majestic home runs into the stands to get guys on the plate. Just put the ball in play, try to find some grass out there somewhere, and put your teammates on the plate as often as you can.
Fastball under the whiskers of Arenado, and it's 2-2. 2 double plays turned by the D-backs infield tonight. Both hit by DJ LeMahieu. That last one you just saw ended the 7th. Arenado in that wild card game here at Chase Field last October 4th had a home run against Archie Bradley in the 8th inning. And now tonight he faces Archie once again here in the 8th. Big cut at that curveball. Archie's been mixing it up now. The curveball's been a big weapon for him. He's added a slider as well.
I'm not really quite sure what that was. It didn't react the way he wanted it to. Alex Avila was set up on the outside corner low and away. The pitch kind of strayed up and in. It might have been one of those backup sliders that completely fool hitters. They see the rotation on the ball, but it never takes a break.
That slider, a pitch that Archie is starting to feel good about. Zach Buchanan had a great piece about that on the Athletic website. He's made some progress adding that third pitch. Story has singled and struck out twice, 1 for 3. Defending World Series champion Astros got the season started off on a winning note. They won at Texas 4-1. We'll see the Astros again this year. There's a slow curveball, and it's 1-2. Red Sox had Chris Sale on the mound opening day in St. Pete at the Trop. The Trop. But the Rays came back and beat them 6-4.
Yeah, Red Sox had a 4-0 lead in that game with Chris Sale on the mound.
We showed you Giancarlo Stanton, 2 home runs for the Yankees, 6-1 winners in Toronto, eh? And we should mention the Mets. They beat the Cardinals at Citi Field 9-4 on the same day that the Mets and the Expos and the Houston organization lost one of baseball's great ambassadors. Le Grand Orange, Rusty Staub, passed away today. A great hitter in his day.
Oh, tremendous hitter.
High cheese from Bradley, and he blows away Story.
You're right, just some high cheese, nothing tricky here. Letter high, 4-seam fastball right down the middle of the plate, just blew it by Story.
Story, who led the league in strikeouts last year, has punched out 3 times tonight. Here's Cargo. D-backs put the shift on. That's Marrero, the second baseman, out there in right field.
I think you'd have to give Rusty Staub a lot of credit for kind of revolutionizing the game as far as how pinch hitters are used and what pinch hitters are expected to do. Before him, it was just the guys that were sitting on the bench, and the reason they were on the bench is probably because they couldn't hit. But Rusty Staub at the tail end of his career became one of those offensive weapons that his managers would use and drop him in there at key situations in the ball game, and he was not only a great hitter, he was a great pinch hitter.
He was a 6-time All-Star, broke into the major leagues at the age of 19 in 1963 with the Houston Colt 45s. Long career with the Mets, the Expos, the Tigers, was a Texas Ranger for a season. The great Rusty Staub at the age of 73, a big loss. And a tremendous philanthropist in the New York City area, had some restaurants there. The pride of New Orleans, Louisiana. Archie Bradley dialing up the heat. 2-2 on Cargo. A strike away from getting the side. Lifted in the air, left field for Peralta, backing up near the track. Archie Bradley faces 4 hitters, gets 5 outs. It's 8-2 D-backs. This is Archie Bradley's world. The rest of us are just living in it. They brought in the beard and he got 4 outs. Opening day, we look ahead to tomorrow. The second of a 3-game series against the Rockies. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. A matchup of left-handers tomorrow here in a 6:40 start. Robbie Ray for the D-backs against Tyler Anderson for Colorado. New pitcher for the Rockies, the right-hander Adam Ottavino. As Goldie leads off the home half of the 8th, he has walked 3 times tonight and flied out. He's 0 for 1. Breaking balls a strike. Fitting that Ottavino wears number 0. Just seems to kind of go with his name, those bookend O's.
I still think he should have gone with 00.
That's next level thinking.
Goldie would probably like to get that last pitch back. Looked like a slider that was belt high right down the middle of the plate.
And he's caught looking at a fastball. 1 down.
Must have been looking for something else. Just a tailing 2-seam fastball. Starts on the outside corner, tails back over the outer third of the plate.
Here's Jake Lamb, who has knocked in half of the D-backs runs tonight. A 2-run double in the first, a 2-run single in the 6th. There was a scoring change on that, change from a double to a single. So Jake last year a career high 105 RBIs, and he's already got 4 tonight. Shift is on. Saw Jake's family here down on the field before the ball game. Mom and dad in from Seattle. Asked him about Steven Souza Jr. and Lammer just said, well, he's a Pacific Northwest guy, so that's good. Souza's from Washington State. Trying to check his swing, and it's 1-2.
Jake Lamb with 9 RBIs on opening day in his career, leading the Diamondbacks franchise.
Oh, that's what you're looking for from your cleanup man, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jake had 3 back in the 2015 season on opening day against the Giants.
Well, with an 8-2 lead, not really the need for your new closer Brad Boxberger. Instead, it's Fernando Salas warming up in the D-back bullpen back there with Coach Mike Fetters. Salas, who looked very good this spring, won himself a job. Ottavino dials up another fastball and gets his 2nd strikeout.
A lot of movement on that fastball from Ottavino. Tailing action on that outside corner away from the swing of Jake Lamb.
Pitcher's spot after the double switch is 5th in the D-backs order, and Daniel Descalso will hit for Archie Bradley. What an addition he was last year. His first season with the Diamondbacks. Descalso 233. 10 home runs and 51 runs batted in were both career highs. That included a walk-off home run against these Rockies last April that he knocked into the pool. Low breaking balls to strike. 2-1 on Descalso.
I think anybody involved with the organization or any fan that watched the Diamondbacks closely last year will tell you that those numbers do not tell the story of how valuable Daniel Descalso was to this ball club. They brought him in here because he'd had a lot of postseason experience. He plays the game with a confidence and a poise, and a lot of that rubbed off on the younger players last year.
Sure did. Alex Avila on deck. Descalso, after last October, has now played in 48 career postseason games, and that really translates in the clubhouse. He takes a 2-out walk. Avila. He has an RBI ground out. He has a single, 1 for 4 in his D-backs debut. Rockies will have the shift on for the left-hand batter. Rockies last year actually cut way back on their defensive overshifts from the previous season. Last year was Bud Black's first season. 2 years ago, they put on an extreme defensive shift more than 1,300 times. Last year, that number dropped to fewer than 700. So they're sort of going against the grain or against the metrics in that regard.
I wonder if the fact that Bud Black was a pitcher in his playing days has anything to do with that. It kind of limits where you can attack an opposing hitter if you play these exaggerated pull shifts. And Buddy Black was a guy that needed to use both sides of the plate, up and down, change speeds. He really had to pitch to be effective at the major league level, and guys like that don't like shifts. They want everybody in their position, and then they'll pitch the hitter accordingly.
Well, apparently there was some pushback from the infielders. Arenado, LeMahieu, Story, none of them were really enthralled with all the shifting. And they had, according to LeMahieu anyway, some disagreements in the past, and so Bud Black pulled back. And you've got some Gold Glovers out there. Defensively, Story rated as the best shortstop in the league last year, so you should listen to those guys when they talk, and they did. You look at defensive runs saved, that guy right there, Trevor Story, #1 in the National League last year. Two and two on Alex Avila. 2 outs, and Descalso the runner at first. Got him with a fastball. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Adam Ottavino. We hit the 9th. It's 8-2 D-backs. Play ball, and then a 1-2-3-8. He faced 4 batters, got 5 outs.
Pretty efficient.
Not bad.
As good as you can get. Fastball sitting in the upper 90s consistently. Didn't really need much of a breaking ball in the ball game tonight. Just overpowered these Rockies.
And now we hit the ninth with the Diamondbacks holding an 8-2 lead on Colorado. Our Gila River game summary: Jake Lamb 4 RBIs. Patrick Corbin did a terrific job, 5 2/3, gave up only 2 runs.
Everybody in the lineup for the Diamondbacks with at least 1 base hit in the game, except Goldie.
Goldie has walked 3 times.
Yeah.
He's 0 for 2. Here is Fernando Salas, one of the new members of this D-backs bullpen, who reported to spring training on a minor league deal and won himself a major league job on opening day. He looked good this spring. Ian Desmond leads off the Colorado ninth. Salas, 32 years old. 61 appearances last season with the Mets and the Angels. This is a guy, Torrelabello said, just came in and did exactly what the coaches wanted him to, which was pound the strike zone. Center field, AJ. Don't forget our cavalcade of stars on Fox Sports Arizona, set for the postgame show coming up. It's D-backs Live. Gracie, Webby standing by with Jody. They did a tremendous job on a really well done 2-hour pregame show. That looked terrific. They were outside by the Game 7 grill, packed with people, more than 48,000 in here today. And so our post-game show will be coming up right after our ball game on Fox Sports Arizona.
Well, not only do Webby and Gracie do the pre and post game show here on opening day, but they both threw out one of the first pitches.
Good call.
Yeah. They had a representative from each playoff team in Diamondbacks history throw out a ceremonial first pitch, and Webby and Gracie were both out there.
It was kind of a nice job they did. Rubio Durazo represented the '99 team. Gonzo 0-1. Gracie 0-2. Webby 0-7. J.J. Putz 2011. And Archie Bradley was out there representing last year's postseason team.
Yeah, J.J. still has ice on his shoulder. So
yeah, he's going to be down for, they think, 4 to 6 weeks. As we celebrate 20 years of D-backs baseball. The big one is coming up Saturday. Don't forget, fans, still some tickets for that ball game. As we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the D-backs' first game, March 31st, 1998. They'll face the same opponent, the Rockies, a 5-10 start. And Zach Greinke will make the start there, Torrelabello said, before the game tonight. And they will have another special pregame ceremony, BB, that will replicate the original first pitch in D-backs history. Marrero collects that at second. Andy Bennis will throw to Jorge Fabregas with Mike Lansing at bat. And the first 20,000 fans with us here Saturday get a replica 20th anniversary jersey. Chris Arenado, the former D-back, last man standing for Colorado.
Yeah, and one more point on the ceremonial first pitch. One of the coolest things about it was J.J. rode in the bullpen cart. Came in from the pen. Everybody else walked out to the mound from the third base dugout. J.J. came in the bullpen cart.
Well, that's kind of the mode he's been in for a while.
Seems appropriate.
It was a little odd that they still played Thunderstruck. It didn't quite match the vibe, but it worked out all right. Salas trying to get the final 3 outs on opening day. Diamondbacks, if they can hang on here, will improve to 8-3 in their last 11 opening day games and 12-9 all time. Arenado. Chris gets his 3rd hit tonight, a 2-out single. And now we'll get a look at one of the guys Colorado is excited about. The youngster Ryan McMahon will hit in the pitcher's spot.
24, Ryan McMahon.
McMahon, only 23, a 2nd-round pick in the draft 5 years ago out of high school in Santa Ana, California. A brief first look at the big leagues last year. He was 3 for 19. There was a while there where It looked like Ian Desmond would be the opening day left fielder and Ryan McMahon would be the first baseman. They were set to hand him the first base job. But then Gonzalez re-signed. That moved Desmond from left back to first base and put McMahon on the bench. And they think he'll be able to get enough at bats to make this worthwhile. But with that gorgeous left-hand swing he's got, they want to make sure that he gets the action he needs and doesn't just sit and watch.
McMahon, a guy that makes his home here in the Valley in the off season, so gets to open up and probably sleep in his own bed tonight.
One ball and 2 strikes. Change up. McMahon didn't bite it. It's full 3-2. The leadoff man Blackman is on deck. Ninth inning, 2 outs, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here it is. Got him! Fernando Salas shuts the door, and the D-backs are 8-2 winners on opening day. Well, BB, it wasn't always pretty, but it was very effective tonight.
And effective is more important than pretty in Major League Baseball. It kind of set up well for the Diamondbacks bullpen tonight. They pushed their lead to 6 and didn't need to use Brad Boxberger tonight, but followed the formula for Torey Lovullo tonight.
The fireworks go off. The roof is open at Chase Field. 48,703 watch an 8-2 D-backs win. Mark Grace, Brandon Webb, and Jody Jackson are next. D-backs live right after this.